to another MPJ new rock album review show. Joined today by Paul and Andy. Welcome, gang. How are you?
We are fine.
Fantastic.
Well, I am, but I don't know if Paul is. So.
Oh, over the moon.
Fantastic. Fantastic. We're missing three of our panel. One's working, one's nursing a hangover, one's on holidays. But we're here, and that's what matters. And we are reviewing Klogr, Fractured Realities. Now, check our YouTube channel. We did a review, an interview with the wonderful band and the lead singer, and it was very, very interesting. Very, very cool guy. So they're brand new. We've not reviewed their album before, and cheated a little bit because they did. Following the interview, we realised that they'd released their album in October, right at the end of last year. So we went, yeah, it's got to be good because I really liked it. So, but you guys like it then, Andy? What did you think of this?
Well, this is Italian metal. It's their fourth album. It's for me a tread of themes which are in it. You know, it's all talking about psychological issues and the pressures of sort of modern day society. I think there's a good mix of electronics and synths in there. A good mix of songs as well. It does sort of mix it up and write it up. It was definitely measured and confident. And in one of the songs they brought in a guest vocalist, also Italian, who sort of had a good mix of it through it as well. I enjoyed it a lot. There wasn't anything which super standard out for me in it, but it's very solid and standard, and a good mix of good metal in there. So it was very, I'd say very solid, but I'm just going to do the same thing again. So yeah, good album.
Well, seeing as there's only three of us, we have time to read Trisha's notes, who's not here. Fractured Reality is an album that hits you in the face with progressive metal mix and alternative rock influences on your ears. Rusty, gritty vocals command you to listen, hypnotise you in the way he sings with conviction, being accompanied with melodic drums beating in the background and heavy atmospheric guitars to complete the distinct sound. I wanted to read that bit because actually that was might be quite pertinent. Paul, what about you? What did you think?
I agree to some extent with Andy. Italian prog rock band Klogr. Klogr. They finally released their fourth album almost after an 8-year gap from the Keystone album. Band changes in life, I suppose, have got in the way, although apparently they have been touring quite heavily. The heavy melodic sound makes the Fractured Realities album a compelling comeback album. Even though I enjoyed the tempo of the album, it kind of sounded the same throughout. However, it was an above-average album.
Oh, God. I like heavy melodic kind of rock, and his though he has quite gritty vocals, his delivery is sublime. It really is. He's a cracking performer and a cracking singer, and it really works. It's not really growlo. You've got to kind of, it is very gritty, but the melodic and the background vocals to it, it all comes together. Gravity of Fear, I think, is one of my favourite songs, and I can just sink into this album. It can just wrap me up, and I'm happily to have it on repeat. I'm going to find the album of the year incredibly tough because at the minute I seem to be really enjoying this year's albums, and I absolutely loved this album. I adored it, and it's not just because we interviewed him. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. It's one of my favourite albums of the year so far, and I have a lot of favourites, but certainly absolutely it might hit my sweet spot to perfection. But was it good enough? Is it good enough with you lot to get into our Hall of Fame? It's got to get 4 or more. If it gets more than 4.2, it gets into our newly formed, refurbished Hall of Fame. We've added an extension. It's called the Golden Halls. And if it gets 4.6, it would become an MPJ legend, of which currently there are only 14. There's room for one more legendary album before we then start kicking people out of legendary status. But let's find out for we. Paul.
I give it a 3.
Well, I, no surprise, give this a 5, as did Trish. Trish also give this a 5 as well. Lauren give this a 3.5. Dom, I equally loved this album. He give it a 4.5. So if Andy gives this more than 2.5...
That sounds good. Good.
If he does... it's going to get into a Hall of Fame. However, if he gives it a 4 or more, it's going to go into our newly refurbished extension called the Golden Halls. Yeah, I know, right? I mean,
now Paul's interested.
it basically is, right? Our top 50 albums that are getting into the Golden Halls. Let's find out. Andy, what did you give Klogr? You can say it in an Italian voice if you want.
I wouldn't be disrespectful to Italian people.
Why?
I gave it a 4.
Yes! Wow! Amazing! That got 22. We drop Paul's 3, because only 5 votes count. Paul, your 3 is gone. It gets 22. It gets 4.4. So not only does it get into our Hall of Fame, it is in the newly refurbished extension called the Golden Halls of the MPJ. Congratulations. It is it's our joint 28th best ever album, 5th favourite album of the year so far, into the Golden Halls, into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Whoa, what an album. Quite pleased by that. Quite pleased. You know, when you give something a 5, you hope everybody else kind of likes it, and you hope you can drop Paul's score. That's always a bonus. Dropping Paul's score is always a bonus. It's always good. So
hard man to please.
Obviously, I'm going to have to listen to this album again for Album of the Year, and who knows, it may...
Maybe, Paul. It's at the minute. It's got an automatic place because it's in the top 10 albums. But by the end of the year, it might not have an automatic place. 4.4 is that's a real cut. That's cut off, but it could get a wild card. But then I have a lot of wild cards on.
With you and Trish giving it a 5, it's a strong possibility.
Mate, if you looked at my 5s at this year, that's going to be really hard for me. Anyway, who knows?
So wait there. Your new league of Hall of Fames, this Golden Hall of Fame, is it only a certain amount that can be in it?
Yeah.
And could this album actually be demoted at some point?
Yes. Okay. So our top 50 albums. Top 50 albums.
This could be short-lived glory.
I don't know. It's 28.
He's against it.
So there's a way.
Paul wants it out already.
Right? No, get that gritty bloody Italian out.
Got to listen to it again. Ooh.
If we're still doing this for another 10 years,
definitely, yeah. The Hall of Fame, the Golden Halls entry level will get off at some point. All I'm saying is, enjoy your time in the refurbished, newly
that's what
built.
I'm saying is like, you know, if it does get demoted, or the album that maybe it is demoted now should have a little title at the end of it saying former Golden.
Well, we could call it the Silver Hall. So if you were one time in the Golden Hall, you get
I'm in 3 leagues now.
Demoted.
Golden Hall.
Wow. Parachute payment for getting out.
Don't need to extend it to 4 or 5. You know,
the Hall of Fame is like a palace, Paul. You have different wings and different extensions to that Hall of Fame.
Which Golden Hall of Fame is great, but the Golden the upper echelon now, the Golden Hall of Fame legend. Why didn't you make that, like platinum or diamond?
Because that would overcomplicate it, obviously.
Well, no, it's keeping in the same theme. That's what I'm saying.
If you go to the Hall of
Fame, Golden Hall, and then Hall of Fame legends. I mean, who thought this up? I mean,
we know who thought it up. It was Nigel thought it up, so that's no secret.
That's what I'm saying, and it hasn't. This is what happens when a dictator takes control of these things.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
I think
you'll find this is not a democracy, Paul.
I think you'll find it's the MPJ planning office. if you go down and submit a form to the MPJ planning office, I think you'll find
right.
it's a bureaucracy down there, Paul. It's not a domain. It's a bureaucracy. Okay, it's hell down there. Don't go down there.
So there's Nigel Matthews, and then there's Nigel Matthews secretary, Nigel Matthews chairman, and so forth.
I wouldn't say there's Patrick. Patrick's down there. Matt's down there as well. So
Well, your little minions, your little goblins which work for you.
Something like that. Yeah. Right. Okay. There's Hugh. Don't forget Hugh as well. And there's Nigel, Nagini. They're all down there. Right. And I think there is plans for a platinum dome. Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Tune in for our next one, which would be which we're reviewing in a minute, called Dorothy and the Way. So if you like the show, please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment below in terms of letting us know what your thoughts. Thank you very much to Andy and to Paul, obviously to Trish, Dom and Lauren. And goodbye and good luck and keep rocking. Goodbye.